Morning, everyone.
Good morning. Oh,
It's always a pleasure to be in the Bronx. Even though Reverend Pryor's from Brooklyn. I gave you right up. I don't want to. I want to keep my comments relatively short because Reverend Q gave us a list of about 5,000 questions, and we need to get to at least 1,000 of them before noon. But you know what? That's just that list of questions alone means a lot. It means a lot to me that the people of this city and specifically of the Bronx and Ruel, you continue to do a fine job. How long have you been up here now? 2 years, 8 months. Not that he's counting. That list of questions was so well thought out, and we tried to give you our answers as going to be as comprehensive as possible. That's why I didn't come up here by myself. I brought a number of people with me. Mike Osgood from Special Victims and Jimmy Klein from Vice. Jimmy's going to talk about human trafficking. And then everybody to the left of Eddie Lott, raise your hand. Eddie's a Brooklyn guy. Everybody to Eddie's left has actually got a lot of roots in the Bronx. Everybody knows Carlos Gomez, who's the borough commander. Terry Monahan, he's my body double, but he also has roots in the Bronx. And then Joanne Jaffe, Chief of Community Affairs, she's got roots in the Bronx also. And obviously, the big star up here, Larry McCunin, the borough commander. Larry, thanks for everything you did. And I don't have to reintroduce 2 years, 8 months for Will Stevenson. So I'm just going to talk about neighborhood policing for a couple minutes and what we've managed to accomplish with that. Talk about what we identified as what we call precision policing. 2016 was an extraordinary year for the city, not just for the NYPD. We had another year, we had a reduction in homicides, we had a reduction in shootings, and that reduction in shootings, we had a reduction of a raw number of 140 shootings. That's over a 12% reduction, and I've been in this business a very long time. Going to Comstat, that's that weekly meeting we have down at One Police Plaza every Thursday. Whenever crime is up in a borough, we bring people down, we bring the precinct commanders, the borough commanders down, and we have a crime strategy meeting. I've been going since 1996, and to have a reduction of over 12% in shootings for 1 year, I think is a tremendous achievement. And again, it's not just the NYPD that does that, that's everybody in the city that does that, along with our federal partners. But if you look at the way we've changed the way we do business over the last almost 3 years now, I think it's remarkable. We saw that coming out of November and December of 2014, after the Ferguson and Garner decisions, that we needed to continue to evolve. If we're going to continue to push crime down and we're going to make that connection to the communities, we had to change the way we do business. And I think it's a testament to the people sitting behind me. They've all been precinct commanders. They know what it means to run a command, to work in a precinct, to be a cop, and have connections to the community. And after November and December 2014, after the brutal assassination of Joe Liu and Rafael Ramos, that brought us into some really difficult moments in the end of 2014, the beginning of 2015. We knew that we had to change the way we do business, and we effectively have. Right now, neighborhood policing is up and running in 35 precincts. All of our housing PSAs, that's the housing precincts that cover housing developments. And just let me give you a quick explanation of what that is. Prior to neighborhood policing, if you had a precinct, and we're all precinct commanders, as I said, if you had 100, 200, 300 cops, half those police officers would be assigned to sector cars, radio cars. And they'd be answering 911 jobs all day long. And believe it or not, in most precincts in the city, that's what you're doing full time for 8 hours. And especially in the busy precincts, you're doing 20 to 25 radio runs per 8-hour shift. So where in that model of policing do you have that opportunity to make a connection to anyone? Except maybe the people that are calling 911. And on the other half of the precinct, you're usually involved in some sort of summary enforcement. Maybe they're doing anti-crime work, low-level drug work, administrative work, traffic work. And that's not the model of policing that's conducive to community connectivity. So we made a decision that we're going to change the way we operate, change the way we do business. And first and foremost, what we did was we resected all these neighborhood precincts, policing commands. You know, prior to this model of policing, the precincts were broken into sectors, and those sectors the lines were kind of arbitrarily drawn. So in the neighborhood policing commands, we resected them into natural neighborhoods. So now instead of having 10, 15 sectors, they have 4 or 5. And each one of those sectors represents a natural neighborhood. My old precinct, 4-4, is a good example of that. We had Highbridge, so now that's a sector. We have the same police officers assigned to the same sectors every day on the same tours. So there's the opportunity for them to have, to make that connection. And within those sectors, we have neighborhood coordination officers, and that is a new position that we created. And their primary responsibility is, of course, to fight crime, because that's what we get paid to do. That's why we all became cops, is to keep people safe. But it's also to make sure that they have, the community and the sector cops have that connectivity. The big thing about this model of policing is that our goal is to have each sector cop have a third of their day not answering radio runs. So they actually have the opportunity to make that connection. In my 34 years as a police officer, I started in transit, I came over to Merge in 1995. What I've heard every day is that cops have to get closer to the community. But that old model of policing, we really didn't have the opportunity to do that. But now, in this new neighborhood policing model, you will have the opportunity to do that. You'll have a third of that day, you'll be off the radio, and you have the opportunity to make that connection, to go to community meetings, to visit businesses, to go to schools, and to really get to know the people that you're sworn to protect and serve. You know, there's a lot of people in each sector. Obviously, you're not going to get to know everyone, but you have at least had the opportunity to make that connection. And you have some time. And to see that, as Reverend Pryor said, we all want the same thing. We all want to live in peace. We all want to do well. We all want to take care of our families. That's a common bond of police officers and the people of this great city. And I think with, as we move forward with neighborhood policing, I think you're really going to see a substantive change in the relationship between this police department and the people of this great city. And there's a couple of ways we're going to measure that. Obviously, number one, the way we measure it is crime. And we have to, I'm looking out at the audience here, and I see that there's more than a few people that were in the city 20 to 25 years ago. And you know what it was like. We can never go back, and we will never go back to those days. So if we're going to change the way we do business, we have to make sure that first and foremost we keep people safe. And I think we're doing that. Last year we had a great year. This year we're looking forward to another great year, pushing crime down. But it's important that we have that connection, and we're getting there. It's you know, the big ships turn slowly. We're turning. We started this a year and a half ago. And another ways we're going to measure it is there'll be a real-time ability to participate in surveys. And that's something that should be up and running soon. Come over your smartphone or maybe over your landline, you'll have the opportunity to make a commentary by filling out a survey and let us know how we're doing in real time. The feedback, the anecdotal feedback we're getting from the community is very positive. The feedback we're getting from the cops is terrific also. Because it is about community, it is about crime, but it's also got to be about police officers. Most of the cops, we have 36,000 now thanks to the mayor and the city council, increased our head count by about 1,300. And most of the cops came on the job, most of the police officers came on this job to do right, to do good, to make a difference, to lead a life of significance. I'm not going to stand up here and say every one of our 36,000 police officers deserve to stay in their positions. We're like everybody else, we're a reflection of society. We're getting more and more diverse each day. But by and large, I know people took this job for the same reason I took this job. That's to keep people safe. I didn't take it for the money. I didn't take it for the benefits. There are plenty of other jobs where you could do that. They took it because they're protectors. It's innate in them. And I think that needs to be appreciated. And as we move forward with neighborhood policing, I think we're going to see more and more of that. And part of neighborhood policing is to help identify the very small percentage of the population in this city that are involved in violence and crime. And it is a small percentage. We have to make sure, with what we're calling precision policing, that we target those people that are hurting other people and committing crimes. You know, I guess I have a couple of frustrations over the last few years. One of them is that I think that as we move forward, I think there needs to be a recognition of all the change within the NYPD. But there also needs to be a recognition that there is a small percentage of the population that do commit crimes and are you know, they don't want to conform to societal norms. You know, there's some bad people out there, and the police department is that vehicle that we use to make sure that those bad people are brought to justice. And I think we did a good job of it. I think in 2016, we had over almost 100 takedowns, gang-approved takedowns. I know we had a number in the Bronx, resulting in the arrest of over 1,000 people. I think, Terry, if I'm not mistaken, most of those people are still in. And that's what we need to do. Because if who knows better than the people that live and work on a block who the people committing the crimes and the violence? And we're pretty good at it, but we can do a whole heck of a lot better, making sure we're working with the community. I think that's how we continue to bring down violence. That's how we continue to bring down overall crime with precision policing. And I think you see that the reduction in the number of stop and questions. At its peak in 2011, it was about 600,000. In 2016, we ended up with about 13,000. And we have a reduction in arrests. We have a reduction in summonses, criminal court summonses. Vision Zero, I guess we're probably going to have a couple of questions about that too. We're looking for an increase in summonses, just as we need that to keep people safe. But you know, we're managing all this, we're reducing the number of arrests, summonses, stop questions, and stopping questions. And I think that's, again, a testament to, again, not just the NYPD, but everybody in this great city. I have to, before we get to the Q&A, I do have to give thanks to our partners, our law enforcement partners, the DAs, the 5 DAs offices. Garcelle Clark continues to do an outstanding job in the Bronx. The 4 other DAs. We have the Eastern District and the Southern District, the U.S. Attorney's offices that are a tremendous help to us, and the Special Narcotics Prosecutor, Bridget Brennan. None of this we do alone. We do work with, we do collaborate with all these other agencies. We have a tremendous relationship with the FBI, with the ATF, and the DEA. They do tremendous work with our Drug Enforcement Task Force and the U.S. Marshal Service with our Regional Fugitive Task Force. So again, we cannot do this alone. It is a shared responsibility, not just amongst law enforcement. It has to be everybody in this great city making a contribution. That's how we're going to continue to do our jobs, to keep people safe, and keep pushing crime down, because we do have that moral obligation to keep people safe. As I said before, and I'll say it a million times, this is why we become police officers, to keep people safe. So, Reverend Q, I guess we can start the Q&A. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today, and it's always a pleasure to be in the Bronx. Thank you very much.